So Taylor looks like he is back to start. Can Joel Selwood be the Joel Selwood we know? Can he get over the ground like he needs to?
Well, they're going after Paddy Dangerfield here early on. The Crows, that's not surprising at all. Trying to make his way down forward, but Joel Selwood has had 2 quiet finals. I don't remember ever saying that about the Cats skipper. So expect him to bounce back. But this Crows midfield have just built such a wonderful season. The Crouch brothers, Douglas, Rory Sloane. This is going to be a beauty.
And Hardigan's gone to Dangerfield.
Umpires today, Brett Rosebery, Matt Stevic and Justin Smith. Matt Stevic has the honour of the first bounce. Jacobs in amongst it there, Smith there as well. What a game he played last week. Zach Smith elevated it and probably the best game he's had of his career. Motlop, a big contributor as well. They need him to play well tonight. There's Tui. He's played every game this year for the Cats. Selwood bowled over by Knight. The pick-up by Cameron was a beauty.
And already up forward for the Crows, the matchups. Josh Jenkins has got Harry Taylor. Tex Walker looks like he's got Tom Lonergan. And again, like the Cats did last week, Lockie Henderson freed up as that spare. Took 13 grabs last week. We'll keep an eye on whether or not the Crows try and engage him.
And Laird started as the free man, but Parfitt's gone for him now at the other end. Sloane dug it out. Atkins belted it forward. Walker's hand's good. Lynch's kick quick. Gets to a running Jenkins. There is Henderson. Betts can't quite close. Blitzarves, Taylor. Douglas did really well. Betts dangerous here. All very dangerous. Cameron first goal. First goal of the prelim.
There's one thing better than a dream, and that's making it a reality. Last year, the Toyota Good for Footy raffle raised over $500,000 for grassroots clubs across Australia. Making the dream real for more players than ever before. Now that's good for footy.
Great smother there, build off the back of pressure this goal. You see there, Eddie Betts, so clever, and already they look on tonight, Adelaide.
Tidied up very nicely by Charlie Cameron. As the crowd go berserk in the background. Poor bounce. Let's have a look at the setup at the Geelong end of the ground. What are you seeing, boys?
We're seeing all grouped together just inside 50. Talia's got Hawkins as we expected. They've gone fairly tall though. Stanley's there. Dangerfield, of course, forward. Good marking options.
Sloane, Crouch, McKay and Seedsman all combining for that extraction. Now Knight to finish it off with a drilling ball deep inside 50. 2-on-1 for the Cats. Well done by Henderson and Taylor. Now he's going to have to knock it out, Harry. Lonergan on all fours. In they go again. Taken off the ball there might have been Betts. Umpire will ball it up within 20.
So already you'd have to be wondering, what do you do with Dangerfield? Last week, fast start, they got the ball down to him, got early goals. Already the Crows winning the ball out of the centre.
Yeah, that big body around the clearances will be handy. Betts. Oh, yeah. How's this? Can you believe this start?
Eddie Betts has been quiet against the Cats in recent history, but brilliant goal by him. I'm with you, Doug. I'll give it 2 more minutes. 2 more minutes, get Dangerfield around the ball.
The moment that goal was kicked at the other end of the ground, they're into Dangerfield saying to him, mate, it's not coming down here. You can play here as long as you like. So back in the middle, cracking start by Adelaide. Here's the first clearance to Scott Selwood for the Cats. Inside 50, shallow entry, Laird. Got it on to Atkins. Pressure handball. Hardigan overran the footy. Allowed Menzel to get a piece of it. In they go. Hard ball in underneath that by Laird. Riley Knight with a tackle. Selwood's there. This is Scott. Crouch. Colin Jasny. Tom Hawkins eventually got a piece of it. He tried to walk it out of there. Parfit a little one. And eventually Adelaide with an easy ball to Hardigan.
From Seedsman, who got it from Talia. Tui underneath, good mark. Against some pressure from Cameron.
It was a ball kick from Hardigan, kicked it to Tui's advantage.
Tui, such a good kick to Duncan. 35 disposals and 2 goals. The only Cat that's ever done that in the final. Last week. Kicks to about 35 metres. He's got it. I said nearly. He's got it.
It's just within the 2 minutes, Doug. And that, I suppose, is the thing that it always threatens is if you can get it to him, he's probably going to mark it or he's going to create something. So just the ability to hold that nerve and not send him straight back into the midfield after the second goal.
His direct opponent turns the footy over to Tua. He comes back, he gets the one-on-one with Lever.
It's not Luke Shuey a couple of weeks ago, but this is massive. Absolutely vital that he holds the line. It doesn't come back. He's missed.
He allowed for something that wasn't there. And that's a good side of him. Very benign conditions here tonight, that is for sure. Laird, high footy. Couldn't mark it. Jenkins, Sloan had a go of it. Selwood got him high. Free kick, Sloan. Little handball out wide to Seedsman, who was going to go back inboard, forced to go very wide, and Henderson's able to cut it off. Now, can they slingshot it? Adelaide quickly into defensive attitude.
Goes short to Taylor. He's good mark. Well, the word pre-matchling you were getting was they've got to try and make it congested early Geelong. They haven't been able to do it, have they?
No, they haven't. They wanted to throw numbers around it, not let the Crows get off to the exact start that they have to this point in the game, pick those couple of early goals. So they're just going to try and bottle it up for maybe 5 or 6 minutes, get the game back on the terms of an arm wrestle and just settle the crowd down. But right now, the Crows look so sharp.
Smith and Jacobs had a big match last week. Smith, Jacobs, a big, big season. Scott Selwood, high tackle, free kick.
Yeah, Matt Crouch got him a little high. Scott Selwood. Another deep ball inside 50. This time Dangerfield's held, trying to get hands on it. Almost had a second go at it. Now Adelaide trying to duck in and under. Caught with the footy. On that occasion was Brown. And he's been pinged, and this will be a free to Cockatoo.
Well, this will be big for Nakia Cockatoo.
One game, Lingy, in the last 14 weeks, this guy.
And only lasted just over 60 minutes in that game, BT.
Hamstring problem. And here is Cockatoo. They'll be hoping for some of this out of him tonight. The shot from the same spot as Paddy. So he knows he's got to kick it inside the right goal post. And that's better. So Geelong get there first.
What a beautiful sight here. Only player in his first final tonight, Cockatoo. And suddenly that Geelong coaching box are feeling pretty good about themselves. Paddy took a mark, Cockatoo kicks a goal. It was the big call at selection last night. So 2 scoring shots apiece. Adelaide by 5 points. Duncan, Mackie, held up. Otten got him down. Ball up.
Thank you, Andrew, thank you. He's up.
One of 3 South Australians in the team tonight for the Cats. Kolajasny put Duncan under pressure. He was good enough to blitz off. So Geelong have done well here. They've steadied. Mackie normally reliable with ball in hand. Hawkins terrific. It was a beautiful kick, well weighted. And then Hawkins, not a great kick to centre half forward. Menzel made a very good effort though. McKay spins and gets away, and that's a good delivery to Douglas, who's up and about.
So Douglas at half-back, trying to ease it inside of Jacobs. Got a bit of flow here. They're away, playing well. Crouch got it on to Cameron, looking for the little one over the top. Decides to go with a longer kick. Otten's in good position here. Jenkins Stewart, what a fist that was. A timely one indeed. Taylor to Lonigan, and Lonigan's kick under pressure will give Adelaide another look.
Goal saving spoiled by Tom Stewart, but it's coming back. They were scrambling. The Crows had them over the back. Really good ball movement by the Crows forward then.
And a beautiful kick by Cameron, wasn't it? So here's Atkins, sets it to 30 metres. Jacobs, yep, Sauce has got it.
That's big. If you've got your ruckman able to take contested marks inside 50 and around the ground, and that'll be a massive confidence booster for him, because Zach Smith last week was magnificent.
15
So really putting the pressure on him.
4 goals fine from set shots this year, but you would back him from here. He's got it. Adelaide get their 3rd.
Sam Jacobs there, beautiful get through the footy. His first finals goal. And a good start here for Adelaide. 3 goals to 1, plus the Dangerfield miss. 10.5 minutes in. That one will be recalled, I think. No, the umpire was thinking about recalling it. Decided to let it go as Smith had an ordinary one there. Quickly gets rid of it here now. Smith in the parts of Blitzarves. Throwing off the ball there, Seedsman. At the back door, Menegola. Crouch. Soccer, gain 20. Under real pressure was Mackey. In the middle of the ground, Riley Knight goes in. He went low, the umpire said. He dropped down, there you go. Fair call.
Just noticing Mark Blitzarves out there now going to Matty Crouch on the right of your screen. He was started on Rory Sloane, so he might just be rolling between the two best Adelaide midfielders, whoever's in there at any given time. That's testament to just how good his aerobic capacity is. The fact that he's not going to take a rest when Sloane heads to the bench. That must be a massive running ask for Mark Blitzarves.
So Knight to Mackey, wheeling around as he does, and it's a good kick. Stewart, who was so inspiring last week, had the hammy problem. Now, has that stayed in? It has. Stanley came in last week for Lonergan. Of course, with Blitzarves, we know that he wasn't all that far away from representing Australia as a 1,500-metre runner. Talented family. Laird cuts it off. Little gift to Jacobs. Good start for Big Sauce, and then Jacobs short, okay for Douglas. He kicked a career-high 4 goals against the Cats in a Friday night game here in round 18.
Goes back inside to Matt Crouch. Crouch forced to just go short, and Laird getting plenty of the foot. He's just got to watch his turnover by foot here. And that's why he's better off taking the short kick wide or one like that he knows he can make. Good ball to Lynch. Lynch can hammer it. A little over the head of Betts. Mackey under pressure, got the free. Well done by Andrew Mackey. He's a great player. He's looking to play in his 5th grand final, Bruce.
He and Joel Selwood would be doing that if they can get there. Here's Duncan. Yeah. 16 of the Cats have been in a prelim before. Only half a dozen of the Crows from that Hawthorn match. So, B. Crouch to Hardigan, who started on Dangerfield. He's got Talia wider, goes with a poor kick. Cut off by Blitzarves, and then Blitzarves short. That's a poor kick too to Hawkins. So a couple of turnovers there. That one really costly because Geelong were home almost.
And Talia was staying back to guard the long ball in and left Hawkins, and he really should have made that kick. Seedsman, the former Pie. Short ball, Knight may have just taken his ball off Tui. He's really having a crack, and there is Tui. Used hands and feet. Now Selwood able to duck under the tackle. Here's Dangerfield. Explodes out of the middle. Little low ball to Hawkins. Hands on it, couldn't reel it in. Kelly under enormous cockatoo pressure. Dangerfield looking for the free. Nothing on. Lightning hands from Adelaide. What about that? Greenwood. Little ball over the top here to Walker. Walker can go short to Cameron or drive it long. It's a high ball. It wasn't deliberate to Lynch, but he's taken the mark nevertheless. He was looking for the longer one deep. It came off the side of the boot.
Yeah, it did a little, didn't it? It did a little bit. The most important thing is to space. And that's what defenders don't want, to space. So it at least allows the forward to run onto it. Well, Lynch found himself by himself.
He was looking for Jenkins, I think, who was in a good position. So Lynch now from 48 metres out. That's on line. Gee, they look good in front of goal, Adelaide. 4 first-quarter goals.
So that fabulous shot coming into the Adelaide Oval on this balmy, beautiful night. Adelaide off to a fast start here with 4 goals in the opening term, leading by 3. Dangerfield got it to Selwood. Selwood got it to Dangerfield. Dangerfield had it smothered by Crouch. Kolajasny gets in. Crouch was terrific. That was the other Crouch to Atkins and gets to half forward. Walker got a little push. Otten attacked the ball well. Gave it to Lynch. Lynch clever. Gave Tex half a chance. Seedsman, can he get it to Walker? He does. He's almost within range. He hooks it to the pocket. Tui can't quite. And Geelong are really on the back foot.
Lingy, you talked about contested possession, how important it is. Pretty tight at the moment, 18-16 Adelaide's way. The big discrepancy, though, keeping efficiency. Geelong just at 52%, the Crows at a really respectable 76 to start.
Yeah, they're going to have to lift that, the Cats, that is for sure, Mark. Smith held off with one hand. Jenkins looking for the high tackle. Been good, the umpires, not paying any dubious ones in terms of the high tackle and the bend of the knees and all of that sort of thing here so far.
Give it to him.
Gee, unlucky there, probably, wasn't he, when you look at it?
Should have been too high.
Yep.
Instead, it was Peters holding the footy. Got away with one there, Joel Selwood. But just on Soda's point about the contested possession, pretty even. Geelong are just getting... Oh, I'll let you take over here, Bruce.
Stewart, Core had to get rid of it very, very quickly. Jenkins with the push-off and Selwood and Hughes, who's been a beauty in the final so far. In fact, he's a much improved player.
The pressure has been enormous, the Crows. You saw it, another example right there.
They're inviting Geelong to handball, aren't they? And then just closing it down straight away. But Adelaide at the moment, just a better balance around the contest. They're getting them on the outside once the ball's won.
Tui's long ball, Lang did pretty well, but now Scott Selwood has to run the gauntlet. Adelaide making Geelong uncomfortable down back, aren't they? Putting them in pressure situations. Cats just need to steady here. Contain the damage for the minute. Knight's little toe poke forward. Dangerfield certainly getting involved. Lynch tucked it back, got it out. Dangerfield and Knight, and now Duncan over the top. There are other Menangola over the top.
And what the Crows are doing well, Bruce, why they're panicking Geelong a little bit down back, is they're covering all the outlets. So the Geelong players have got a handball, they can't kick, which just invites more pressure onto the ball carrier.
Selwood gets it to space.
He did indeed, but have a look who's chasing it. It's Brown that'll arrive first. He's got a little help there, and his mate Atkins. They go backwards, and Kelly's kick's got to be good. Sometimes if you can't make it, don't go for it. Laird just committed himself. Wasn't that wonderful? And now Atkins.
That's those 50-50 balls. Oh, another poor turn.
Intercepted by Scott Selwood. So there's a lot of action in this part of the ground. And then the handball cut off by McKay. Jenkins, a long way back to Seedsman, who's been in most things going forward so far, Paul Seedsman. Thought about McKay, went inside to Hardigan. So their back line pressing up a long way. Hardigan goes with a low ball at this time. Stewart in front, off hands, Lynch, little bender, and a roller to finish. Lynch has got a couple in a row.
Great defensive work by the Crows. Poor skill execution by the Cats, and the Crows are capitalising. This margin is getting worrisome for Cat supporters. 24 points. Crows have been scintillating.
Two big turnovers. Blitzarf burns the kick. Scott Selwood handballs into a Crow, and it's cost them dearly. Sloan to Walker. We know how effective he is with the kick. Well, there you go. That did him in. Sloan gets it wide. Atkins the left footer, so he'll wait and get the angles right, but he's prepared to push it wider still. Crouch. Brad Crouch. So this has been a sensational start from the home team. He sets it up. Walker out of position. Jacobs went in. Selwood holds his nerve this time. Tui normally a very good kick. He waits and waits and really doesn't do a lot with it.
Gee, the defence and the pressure that they're exerting Adelaide is unbelievable in this part of the ground. Kolodjasny found a little opportunity, but Geelong players are having to come right up to try and help out. They've found some space now with Cockatoo. Motlop wasn't watching. It was behind Dangerfield. He tidies up Motlop, and the kick's got to be in front of Menzel. Good hands. Really good hands in front of Jake Kelly there. And Menzel, to just slow things down a little, can go inboard to Kolodjasny, I think it is, finds him. A lead offered down there by Lang and ignored. So a very static forward line. They go deep into the pocket here. Cockatoo's there, and so was Stanley, but it was never a threat.
Just one little worry here for Scott Selwood for the Cats after that tackle. Just grabs at the left hammy there. He's staying on the ground and hasn't come off, so hopefully all good, but a little worrying sign for him. We'll keep an eye on it. Sodas will be all over it.
And he missed 3 games this year, Lingy. Sort of the second half of the year with a hamstring problem. So important there. Matt Crouch, Hardigan, well done, Lang. Bouncing ball. Lever takes them on. He's in trouble.
Scott Selwood's gone, boys. I think he's going to come off. Physio's talking to him at the moment, leading him off the ground, so could pick up Lingy. huge blow that has been, Bruce.
Absolutely. Changes a lot. And Lang hits the post. They need everything they can get here, the Cats. It's early, there's a long way to go, but the home team are off to a flyer.
Hartigan right in that interchange area where Scott Selwood has just gone down into the rooms. Stewart to Menengola. Selwood, that was Joel round the corner. He walked right past you. Soda's going to come to you in a moment. Here's Jacobs. Little handball out the back. Hartigan took it on. The kick's got to be good. Jacobs there to cut it off. Goes sideways. And they're not trying to overkick the footy. As Douglas, little one over the top, the Lynch Sodas. What do you think about Scott Selwood?
Well, of course, he missed those games, what was it, back round 15, 16, 17. Look, it looks like he was moving okay at the moment, but you're right, there was a fair bit of grief with him just there before he came up.
Goes deep inside 50, looking for Cameron. Taylor went to ground. Gee, did he knock it out delivery? I think so. Fair call, good call. He knew he was under pressure, Taylor. He was on his all fours. Everyone else around him was on their feet.
It was almost a professional free kick, but unfortunately Eddie Betts has got the footy, so not too professional.
You want someone else to have it, don't you?
Looks like he's going to perhaps run around and kick it around. He is. So around the corner, here's Betts, got the bend on it. What about that? It just peels around the goalpost. Eddie's got his second.
What a goal by Eddie Betts. That is last year's preliminary final. This year's preliminary final sits at 37-8, 29 points. A lot of Geelong players talking all year about redeeming from that game against the Swans where they were blown out of the water in the first quarter. Well, few have delivered on that promise. The Adelaide Crows have been absolutely superb.
They need a goal before quarter time and they can't concede another. Greenwood taken down, ball squirts out. Duncan, Tui, Lang, he just arches his back, then kicks it hard and high, but he doesn't get it far. Hawkins completely outnumbered. Lever cuts across. Adelaide team so well in that back half, don't they? They are a cohesive unit, even without Smith. Laird has been so good in this match early.
Gee, they are deliberately going short in this area of the ground, Bruce, aren't they?
Yep.
Whichever direction, it's always short.
Kelly. 32 marks to 16 at the moment.
Just change the angles really well, Adelaide, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Well, that's silly. So that continues the pressure. So Otten, Lever. Short again, another uncontested. Laird setting so much up in this opening term.
Jenkins gets a good run at it here. Off hands, Douglas. Got it to the goal square. Seedsman. Unlikely. 30 out directly in front. Chris Scott bewildered. As Seedsman lines up for goal number 7 for Adelaide. 12 touches and a goal last week for Seedsman. He was pretty impressive. And at this rate, he'll definitely hold his spot, although that kick was not fantastic.
Came into the team very late in the year. So Menengola. Good last week, not so good in the opening week. So you can see the left hamstring tape there of Scotty Selwood.
That's the Geelong doctor just talking to Scott. Obviously finding out exactly what he's feeling there, but the fact it's strapped up and...
I reckon he told him to cool it there and you're not going back. Is that, you reckon?
Well, Lingy, they have strapped him up, so he came running out of the change room. It looked like he was moving pretty freely, so I think they might just sit with him for a moment before they make that call.
Jacobs, Otten, Taylor, clever enough handball, and Mackie walks it over the line.
Throughout the finals, we've had access to the Telstra tracker, and Rory Laird, the All-Australian, leading the way, 3.6 Ks early on. Brandon Parfitt's been his opponent for most of this first quarter. That's why he's clocking up so many Ks. Laird was their #1 runner, 15.6 Ks in that first final against the Giants. That's why he gets as much of the footy as he does. Just a massive work rate down back for the Crows.
Attacking 50 here for the Crows. Greenwood. Motlop in there. Who's going to fly the flag for the Cats? Where's it going to come from? How are they going to activate it?
Let's go. Here we go.
Chris Scott will get an opportunity in around about 2 minutes to chat with them and redesign things. But Adelaide looking brilliant. Tui goes to ground. Hanging off the back of him is Douglas. Ball spills out. Seedsman had it for a moment. Opportunity here. Kolajasny couldn't handle it. Motlop's handball is smothered as well. Adelaide will not let it out of their half of the ground. They keep going. Eventually, Tui to Mackie. An opportunity for them to build. Gee, the kick to Stanley had to go. Some Geelong player had to go. In the end, no one did. And Jake Lever able to put it down the throat of Greenwood.
Gee, they've kicked the ball well in the opening turn. Greenwood. McKay got on the end of it from Brown, put him under pressure. Seedsman able to elude it, and then with that long, beautiful leg of his, gives Cameron a run at it. Stewart, Cameron, it's out of bounds. It's a big call, but it's out.
Just for a moment, I think, Bruce.
Geez, at times when the Cats have had control of the footy, they've just butchered it.
Just there. And it was a goal if he had kept it in.
Little knockdown here. Betts, a little show of the footy. Got a bit of a spiral on it. Got a bit more ground. Was Jenkins being held? No. Stewart paid the mark. Crowd not happy. So a minute 14. Do they go for goal? Do they protect from more scoring?
Push. Geelong.
Duncan. One of their best players this year, Mitch Duncan. He'll need to wind up here for the Cats to get back in it. It's a 30-point lead.
Play on.
Slides it down the line. Dangerfield comes at the ball. Off hands. Menengola couldn't trap it. And eventually over the line. So we'll throw it in. Right in front of the interchange area.
And Duck, you've highlighted it so far in this first quarter. Turnovers for the Cats have been the killer. Adelaide have defended really well. They've scored from turnovers, 5 goals, 2. So 32 points. They average 70 points per game, which is #1 in the competition. They're on track to absolutely blow that out of the water.
Problem for the Cats is it hasn't been under extreme pressure. They've just been basic fundamental errors from the Cats.
We saw their kicking percentage a moment ago, their efficiency.
Poor.
So less than a minute to go in the opening term. Brad Crouch gets it forward. Tui and Lynch and Betts have been so important early with 4 goals between them. Buse, does he keep the ball in? No, he doesn't. So coming back, can Adelaide conjure another score here? Played the more Atkins, and he sets it to about 45 metres. Lynch, the one Crow. Smith gets across. And Geelong just dying for that siren to go.
Have a look at the metres gained for the Cats, just over 800, whereas for Adelaide, over 1,500. I mean, they are really using the ball well going forward. Cats struggling.
Tom Lynch on the top of that again.
Yep.
He's so important for the Crows.
All Adelaide players.
So Smith lays it down to Matt Crouch, and he bubbles the ball forward. Jenkins belts it back. Duncan had a fair bit. He's gone.
Tried to break the tackle. Doesn't get hand to it or foot to it. No arguing with that. That's holding the footy.
Well, what an opening half hour. This would be icing on what is already the most perfect cake if you're a Crow. Is it coming back? It didn't look sweet. It's coming back. It's a behind. So it's a 31-point margin at quarter time. Not much has gone wrong for Adelaide. And for Geelong with an injury and a deficit, a big deficit. It's 39-8 in the preliminary final, Adelaide. over the Cats. Perfect storm for Adelaide. The flying start, and they lead 39-8 at quarter time.
4 stories high. The wall was created for one reason: to change lives. The wall coming to 7.
Well, there's Chris Scott there at quarter time. Pretty quickly went over to his forward groups as the boys stayed within their line groups. He spent a lot of time with the forwards before he brought them all together. Scott Selwood, well, he's still got the hamstring strapped. He's not on ice yet, so he spent most of the break there moving around. So they expect that he still will figure in the game at this point. Now for the Crows, Eddie Betts, pretty quiet last time they played in round 18. Jet Buse did a great job. Kept him to 8 possessions, no goals. He's already kicked 2. Tommy Lynch, Jimmy Bartell said he's the most important player for the Crows earlier in the year, and you can see he started well too. 31 points to the break. That is the second biggest lead the Crows have ever had. Only 32 points in 99 bigger.
Thanks, Sodas. Another bounce, perhaps may have been recalled, but the umpire said both ruckmen are in it, so fair enough. Dangerfield hovering over him. Brad Crouch. Little ball dribbles out the back to Blitzarves. Mackey to Selwood. Had to get rid of it quickly. Blitzarves forced to go on his left, so he went with a hand instead. Now the Tui kick is good. Can they make something of this? Jed Buse kicking wide here, looking for Menzel, and Hardigan there with him. Mackey has to send it backwards. Little clever knock on there, but Adelaide now off half-back. Lever sets it up with a ball to Crouch through the middle of the ground. Here they go once again. The Lynch pin in Lynch. The rocket ball. The bullet to Jenkins on the lead.
Well, again, Tom Lynch was involved there. Just a smart footballer through the middle of the ground. Brad Crouch was able to find him. He was just queuing up there for 15 seconds or so. Tom Lynch, and a beautiful kick in to the leading Josh Jenkins. At the moment, Tom Lynch, the leading metres gained player on the field, 255 metres. That is big to this stage of the game. I reckon the Cats have got to put some time into him.
22-14 this year with set shots. Jenkins, here he is from 48. No problems at all. Adelaide, 37 points.
Well, this crowd are going off, and you can't blame them. I mean, they're already thinking about what might be, but you just got to get the ball, Geelong, don't they? And then they've got to use it. Get it, keep it, and use it. That's what they did last week against Sydney. They can't do that. See, that was interesting. He went the wrong way, Crouch, and now Dangerfield charges to 50, and what happens here? It's a behind. Was he passing or going for goal?
No, he just gave a little, I'm sorry to his teammates there. Crouch just saying, I kicked that one the wrong way, but didn't hurt them too much.
Geelong need all the help they can get right now.
So Laird here. Crouch. Cameron demanding the footy and got it. Missed the run on McKay, so looking to go wide. He could have gone either way. There were players both sides ready to accept. Jacobs never tries to overkick the footy. Jacobs to Seedsman. He thought about running away from Smith then, Seedsman. Jenkins is long but stagnant, puts it right on his head. Back of the pack here is Walker and the big fish from Lonergan. Throw it in.
Once again, precision kicking from full back. Laird, then Crouch up the corridor.
And always off the line, isn't it? Yep. Making the Geelong defensive structure shift till eventually a hole opens up.
Great seats there to watch the action. All Adelaide at the moment. Geelong must do something in the first half of this quarter. Knockdown comes to Dangerfield. You can see he's trying to work his team back into it. Mackey was tackled and dispossessed. Little ball in here. Opportunity for Adelaide. Clever little kick comes out of the pack, but it'll be out of bounds deep in the pocket. And it was Crouch. And both of them are getting plenty of football at the moment.
Kolajasny spent most of that first quarter on Tom Lynch. Now it looks like Andrew Mackey's got that run with roll at the moment.
All those metres gained by Lynch, and goals kicked and goal assists. So Smith beaten by Jacobs. Walker, little give good to Matt Crouch. Matt Crouch gets it back, and Seedsman's got another one. They've got 8.
Geelong now just on the back foot due to that Adelaide pressure, the early onslaught. Just all waiting around watching them. The Crows hungry at the footy. Clean by hand and a clean finish. Duck, you highlighted their efficiency with ball in hand. is supreme at the moment.
Boy, is this a determined, committed outfit here, the Adelaide Crows. Jacob spinning out of the pack, bangs it on the boot and got it as deep as he could. Charlie Cameron and Tui there. A little bit of support here from Henderson under Cameron pressure. And all they can do is get it to the perimeter boundary at the moment to try and relieve pressure.
Look at that kicking efficiency there. Under 50% for the Cats and 75 for the Crows. That's the game.
Absolutely, that is where it has been. Turnover city for the Cats by foot. Not there, Sloan, Blitzarves, Lynch, Dangerfield trying to muscle it out. Knocked out of Blitzarves by the tackling Crouch. He's thrown to the ground, and there's his brother as well. Bungled it out, Atkins goes the fend off, good tackle, Dangerfield. A little fumble there from Kolodjasny. Now he's got Cameron to deal with, and the Crouch brothers, they're both in there. Walker, Lonergan, they just want it more. What a brilliant save from Walker, top of the square. Geelong under enormous pressure. Seedsman off the ground, got it. So much pressure. It just kept coming and coming and coming. Seedsman kicks his second, and they go berserk.
That's just tiny there from Eddie Betts. Looks nothing, but he just got a hand in and pressured Lockie Henderson, so it came to ground and allowed Seedsman to get his second goal. You don't get a stat for that, Eddie Betts, but you get a lot of pats on the back from your teammates.
Dangerfield might lop off a step. I think we're all sitting here stunned at the moment. Selwood runs into Sloan and just can't get it forward to the centre. And to be truthful, maybe now.
Dived on it. No. I thought he missed it. Missed him. Stalled there. He dived on the ball. Play on. You're off. Play on.
And Selwood says, hang on a second, I didn't even get back to...
That is a rough call.
Ridiculous, to be truthful. So Cockatoo fends off, did well. Good kick inside 50. Mark taken by Dangerfield. Has to. He knows what he has to do. But you've got to say, Joel Selwood, you're trying to run back and...
The crowd there thought that was definitely holding the ball against Lonergan.
And he missed the first shot tonight. He missed another one a moment ago. And he has got it. Yep.
So the Cats get one. This was a great kick from Cockatoo. And Dangerfield did an equally as good job with the set shot. So just a little glimmer of hope here for the Cats. Beautiful bounce in there. Dangerfield again. Thought about getting it on the boot, went the handball instead. Menengola couldn't control it. Off the back of the square, Buse spun in the tackle. Dangerfield trying to lift his team. Kolodjasny goes out wide here. Kick's got to be good, very close to the boundary line. Lever did well. Ground level needs some support here. McKay went without it. Greenwood went in. He was tackled, kept the arms free. Motlop did well. Geelong, Stanley and Motlop combined. Little centering ball to Duncan. He can get it and go. Hammers it from 50. Geelong have kicked 2 in 2 minutes. 2 and 2.
Well, it's been 30 degrees, we said today, around about 3 o'clock. It was 23 when the game started, and it's actually raining now, remarkably. It's still pretty warm. It's around about 20 degrees.
So the Cats with a couple of goals in a minute, and they get an 8-goal match back to a 6. Selwood, Dangerfield again, having a massive 5-minute little burst. Cockatoo tries to turn. He flipped the ball out. Well done, lad. He's been superb. To Matt Crouch. Crouch's kick, that was good by Taylor. Belting the ball away. Knight just missed the target. They haven't done that too often. Tui to Taylor, to Mackie. A couple of old heads there. Mackie inside now. Tui normally good with ball in hand. He ran too far, really. Put the pressure there on Menengola. Turnover, perhaps. Greenwood can't get it out. Menengola takes him down. There'll be a stoppage. But Geelong have made a little inroad in the last 2 or 3 minutes.
Good news for the Cats. Scott Selwood back on despite that little hamstring concern that's been strapped up.
Well, I wonder whether it's the all or nothing sodas or whether they're prepared to risk and See what happens here, or whether they reckon he's okay to go. There he is, right in amongst it. Little handball out the back to Blitzarv. Mackie the run here. Parfit's got the ball in the middle of the ground. Goes long and direct here, over the head of Cockatoo. Ground level, Talia there. Just swats it towards the boundary line. Got it as far away as he could. Atkins arches the back. The kick's under pressure. Now Geelong forcing the turnover. Good mark by Stewart. He wrong-footed Tui. This gives Otten a chance. Gave it to Cameron. He puts on the afterburners. Goes long to the square. Getting back, Henderson may well be a goal. He's kicked the goal from about 70.
It wasn't a mark because it was touched off the boot. The umpire called it early, and then the Crows just went for it. Charlie Cameron breaking the game open, and Eddie Betts with the awareness to just let that one go through. Didn't touch it. Selfless footy again.
His last 6 games, Cameron had kicked a total of 1 goal, 6. He's kicked 2 straight tonight. Duncan gets it back. Can he get the second goal in this turn? Going close. And touched and going through. As I said earlier, 35 disposals, 2 goals in a final last week. He's the only cat that's ever achieved that. And he's making some inroads here tonight.
Gee, Adelaide are used to seeing that number 23 Guernsey do big jobs in finals, aren't they? And they're seeing it again here tonight with Charlie Cameron. Talia goes down the line. A little bit of a conservative nature there. Tex almost gloved it. Motlop. Handball out the back. Lynch relieving pressure. Kelly Crouch. Here comes Scott Selwood. Turnover complete. Motlop goes for it. It might be an illegal tackle here. Let's have a listen.
What's that? No prior opportunity, and the tackle held for too long.
Unlucky. Pressure was brilliant.
So Crouch, the recipient. He just sort of sets it up down that line. Otten on target. Stewart with some help from Stanley.
Richard, 1. Richard, 1. Thank you.
Kicks to about 50. Lever first, hands there. Laird. Hawkins got a touch on it. Motlop getting a little busier. Flicks it out. Now Tui, good long kick, we know. Can he get the right angle? He can't. Stanley off a step. And he's hooked and missed. But Geelong at least getting some shots here.
And Adelaide have done really well when Tui's got the ball. We know what a dangerous kicker he is. They've made him handball on a couple of occasions.
So does rain getting heavier there now as we speak?
Absolutely, BT. It was just a little bit of a drizzle before, but now it's coming down quite hard, which will keep, well, Adelaide will be pretty happy about that.
Amazing, considering the unbelievable day we've had here. Not a cloud in the sky, hot, summery type day, and all of a sudden rain from nowhere.
Well, this just makes it real difficult now for the Cats.
What do they say, BT, that whether the Adelaide gets here arrives about 24 hours later in Melbourne? We're expecting maybe a little bit of a damp one tomorrow at the MCG, perhaps.
They're forecasting a warmish day there, and who knows what happens after that, Lingy, as we've seen here tonight. So this has been a little bit better from the Cats, but guess what? They trail by 40. So the scoreboard doesn't think so. It's been a 4-goal-to-2 quarter here for Adelaide, after their blistering 6-goal-to-1 in the first quarter. Smith, Dangerfield, Douglas took him out. Sloan, little fortunate with a kick, but Lynch is in the right spot. Cameron lurking in the middle of the ground. Riley Knight here, right in front of the interchange area. I've admired their short kicking behind the play here. Not trying to bite off too much. Knight goes longer. Walker there muscled Henderson with the fist.
No impact Henderson so far tonight. He, like every other defender, on the back foot. Such a playmaker last week. So as BT said, despite Geelong's efforts, they've been outscored in this term. Adelaide led by 31 at the first change. The Selwoods together. Joel getting the kick after the handball from Scott. Well done by Kelly. Down to Menzel. Menzel's little gift to Selwood, to Menengola. And Menengola had to buy a bit of time, and he kicks the ball forward, knowing they didn't have the numbers. Parfitt put some pressure on Lever. Good stuff there from Hawkins. He got down Brown. Stanley, can he get it back to Hawkins? He goes backwards again. Meningola's handball poor, picked off by Atkins. In fact, not picked off, went straight to him actually. And his kick is a beauty to Otten. And Cameron's on. Otten goes the other way to Lynch, who does this all the time, doesn't he?
It's got to go through the organiser, Bruce, and that was Lynch, but his kick not this time. Everything just seems to be funneled through Lynch, doesn't it?
Yep.
He really organises them going forward once they've won the footy. Blitzarves, short ball to Tui. Mackie. Around the corner. Will he go one more year, Andrew Mackie? Henderson now. Good-looking ball here. Opportunity. Got to mark those Menengola. Good handball to Parfitt. Arches the back. Couldn't run away, though. High footy. Here comes Dangerfield. And he pushes Lever into the back of Laird, but Laird able to stand and deliver.
No, BT, Andrew Mackie finishing up. This could be his last game the way it's going at the moment. He'll be hoping for a miracle to get one more.
Kelly squeezing Kolajasny. Can he bang it? He's never kicked a goal, Kolajasny. He and Lonergan in their last season, aren't they?
Yep, right.
Lonergan, yep.
Okay, sorry about that.
Well, he's playing well enough to go on, BT.
He is.
Well, they both are. Yeah, they've both certainly finished. Well, it might not be on a good note the way the scoreboard reads at the moment, but certainly with good form.
Lever wide, Otten into this side. He's got a free here. Andy Otten, he and Sloane come in. Smith and McGovern out with the 2 injuries, and this is the man that's got his chance. Played forward a lot this year. Douglas, Laird and Sloane all combining here. Funny little kick by Sloane. Along the ground, not so good. Mackie, Henderson combining. They both keep the arms free. Now Mackie decides to just get as much on it as he can. High ball, Stanley off hands. Buse through a bit of traffic. Kolajasny knocks the ball to the ground. Parfitt's got to go. Tried to tap it to himself. Stanley again. Went and got it. Handball, Scott Selwood. He was taken high. And he's going to settle for the set shot here.
This will test the hammy.
It's a fair way out, you're right, Duck.
And the Crows have got to be onto that to make sure no Geelong players line up.
But why aren't Geelong onto it?
Well, it's a good call. There's the high contact just over the shoulder, but you're right, nobody going over there to help him and try and get a kick.
He's not a long kick as it is, and he's got the hamstring. Now brother Joel realises he arches the back from 48, he's kicked the goal. Thank goodness. No, he hasn't. Minor score.
But Joel knew exactly what was going on. They were sitting on the bench earlier in that first quarter, would have had a conversation, so he understood the circumstances beautifully.
Saved his brother, brotherly love.
Sloane gets it from Lever.
Play on handball, Joel.
Lynch in the back half. Good kick again. Otten doing enough. Douglas running hard. He arches his back. He's a long, long kick. We know that. Floating it. Jenkins, Taylor, and a behind. Just didn't get the kick right, Douglas, that time. It was a floater. Walker saying, Richie, I was there. So 14 scoring shots to 10, but it's not as even as that. Motlop, short and okay. So Menengola in that back half still.
Menengola just slides it down the line here. Off hands, mark taken by Blitzarves immediately to the runner, Motlop. Motlop looking for someone to go with him. Lever doesn't know which way to go. Motlop with a little low bullet. Gee, that's a good kick. And Parfitt finishes. But now the real finish.
We haven't seen that too often, have we? That precision kicking going inside 50.
Look at how full that hill is, just where Parfitt is lining up. He's about, we'll kick it from about 47. There's the task ahead. Now it needs to swing back, and it has. Has it got the legs? Dangerfield on the line, so he'll get this shot directly in front as a result of marking it in the square. And he wastes no time, goes back, kicks his second goal.
Just love love this bit of high work rate from Motlop. He took the kick in from full back. He was able to run the whole length of the ground. Got involved here, linked up, handball received. That's how you break the lines, being prepared to work hard and run like that. And then a terrific pack mark by Paddy Dangerfield with the goal.
Blitzard building it forward. Duncan, Joel Selwood, heard the call wide. Dangerfield onto it again. Bangs it to about 25 metres. Hawkins outnumbered. Ball comes to ground. Selwood, high tackle, surely.
Just picking the ball up. Clear the area. Find that gone.
I just highlighted work rate, but Joel Selwood got the centre clearance then and worked down hard, and there's the high contact against Rory Sloane.
Dangerfield's been massive in this.
Incredible. Yeah,
massive.
He's been just as impressive this week as he was last week. So Selwood, who just missed one a moment ago, he too has lifted in this quarter, and he's nursed it home, and Geelong making some inroads here.
You have to wonder, given Dangerfield's dominance in this quarter, did they outsmart themselves in the first quarter by starting him forward?
Well, he's had 10 possessions, 5 contested, 3 tackles, 2 goals, 1 in this quarter, Duck, backing up exactly what you're talking about.
7-1 centre clearances this quarter to the Cats. 13 goals to 6, 13 to 6 inside 50s this quarter to the Cats.
Here he is again.
Hold there. Hold out. Hold there. Right out.
Spot on, Duck, as Dangerfield now to rip another one out of the middle. He goes wide to the one-on-one. Blitzarv's the one-on-one. It was a good one-on-one with Charlie Cameron. He really should have taken the ball at the highest point and not allowed Cameron an opportunity. And Geelong have got the free. It'll go to Henderson, I think. And this will really test him. He'll go very, very close. Tui's hanging around at the back of Henderson because he is a designated hitter, and here he is. He lines up. Tui from 55. It's bending back. It's going to have the wheels. It'll be a metre short. Good effort, though, from Tui. So the Cats, as you say, Bruce, 26 points adrift, and this is as close as they've been since late in the first quarter.
Kick 4-6 in this term, the Cats have been able to really hit the board in the last 5 or 10 minutes led. So Adelaide being challenged hard late in the first half. Laird kicking defensively down the line. Otten the target. Kolajasny gets across. Betts tried to keep it alive. Ball in.
We've seen so much more of that, haven't we, Duck? The long down the line from Adelaide. In the first quarter, it was precision ball use, taking it off the line, just working their way through the Cats. Geelong have fixed it up defensively and are starting to get the game back on their terms a little bit.
Sloane going head-to-head with Dangerfield here. Smith winning the tap. Scott Selwood had it ripped off him from Seedsman. Seedsman gets it across to Crouch. Crouch, Walker in a good spot. Henderson did well, cut across and gets the stoppage. Just a little more poise about Geelong for the minute, isn't there? Adelaide still with a big lead, but it is not insurmountable. It was, I reckon, 5 or 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, absolutely. If they could find a goal in Tom Hawkins, Lingy, find something and get him motivated, well, not motivated, but involved in the game. Brad Crouch to Douglas. Good gather, knew he was hot, had to get rid of it. Dangerfield on his tail.
Yeah, you're right. Daniel Talia doing a wonderful job on Tom Hawkins. Only the 1 mark. Hasn't hit the scoreboard yet. I've just noticed Geelong too, in the last 8 or 10 minutes, have broken the tag of Blitzarves. They've moved him out to the wing.
Yeah, watching.
And they've just gone with their A-grade midfielders and said, you guys do the job.
So a much more attacking setup. Quick snap at goal offline. And that was Douglas. So 4 minutes and 10 seconds remaining in the first half. And another goal here, and I reckon they've really done a great job to get themselves back in the game, Bruce.
No doubt. Tui goes long. He wants Blitzarves. Hardigan belts it back. Greenwood underneath it. Blitzarves building it back forward. Taylor and Hardigan. And Lonergan in a stoppage. Well, 10 minutes ago, they would have taken this score, Geelong, with interest, wouldn't they? This gives them something to work with in the second half. If it remains like this, another goal is an absolute bonus. Jacobs laid it brilliantly to Crouch, who runs his full measure and kicks a behind.
You called it, Bruce. Superb by Sam Jacobs and Brad Crouch. The communication to set it up first, but Jacobs' execution of the tap. That's why the big fellas, the ruckman, could still have a big influence on the game of AFL footy. That was beautiful service.
Kolajasny looking for Dangerfield. Sloan desperate to get it across the line. Boundary umpire said play on, so Motlop can, gee, it's a late call. Now, the boundary umpire closest to the action said it wasn't out. The one furthest away had a very late whistle, and that's this man that's got the footy. It's okay, though. The other guy may have been unsighted. He'll try and throw it in the 18 metres. Perfect boundary throw in. Knocked down by Smith. Muscled it out to Duncan. Showing the footy, wants to get maximum penetration. Left foot kick, Menzel in front, brings it to ground. Laird had to spin out of the tackle. What a great handball it was. Here to Kelly. Kelly with a high ball to centre half forward. Greenwood deliberately trying to knock it down. Kolajasny with the tackle there. Went 1-2. Couldn't get hold of the ball. Kolajasny has another go. Little knock out here. Comes to Mackie. Did well, Seedsman. Kept it in front. Have a look at the Geelong jumpers surrounding him. Tex just bangs it off the deck. And he'll lock it up in the forward pocket for the Adelaide Crows.
So Dangerfield's gone forward to have a breather.
And it was from that congested play, Dangerfield actually spat forward, trying to catch them unawares, but Tom Lynch did the same thing for the Crows. Both free inside their respective forward lines.
So Smith at the back of Jacobs. Sloan reading it brilliantly. He's in a goal-kicking position, and he misses. So a couple of misses late in the term for Adelaide. Plenty of time for both teams. But the game has a much closer feel about it. Geelong working their way back to his long ball. Stanley, good mark. That really was a great grab, the boy from Berry. He goes out wide. Lonigan, oh, gee, Mins has crunched him. Friendly fire, ridiculous there. And now Betts in a very good position for Eddie as he goes with the left foot to Jenkins. And Henderson, good work by Tui there. Henderson stops and props. Stewart, he put him under a little bit of pressure. Back to Tui, and then Tui. Oh, that is a brilliant kick.
Blistering kick it was. A magnificent ball. Stanley over the top, sets Motlop free. He can go wide, and Menzel ignores that. This kick must hit Hawkins, it does. Hawkins has got to wind up. He sees Cockatoo wide. It's a 2-on-1 here if they want to go. Cockatoo lets it rip. Good looking ball. Dangerfield knocked it out in front of Selwood. Dangerfield looks like he's out cold. Talia cleaned up in the end by Seedsman. Kelly takes it away. Dangerfield still lying flat on his back. A big bump on him. Crowd start to stir. Crouch with a little left footer. Finds Douglas.
He's picked himself up, but he was really rattled, wasn't he, the champ? Now Lynch in that familiar position where he normally feeds. He goes wide to Betts, and then Betts goes back inside. He's got the leg, Seaman. Can he kick a third goal? No, he does just that. And gives Otten the gimme. Gee, Seedsman, groin injury the first 12 weeks, didn't play at all. Played, basically got in very, very late. Otten gets the goal, and Adelaide get the steadier.
Paul Seedsman's been a great replacement for Brodie Smith. Have a look at the bump. Just two fierce competitors going at the footy. Nothing wrong with that at all. Total commitment from both players. And the Crows able to rebound it. Oh, that is just good hard attack on the footy. Commitment from both players.
And what a moment, Lingy, for what happened after that with Adelaide's goal.
Absolutely. They were both vulnerable in that position because they were front on. That wasn't a deliberate turn on the side bump, was it? No. Attacking the footy front on, accidental shoulder.
Yep. Here we go.
35 points. Stevic. Out of the middle came Matt Crouch. High footy should mark it, Henderson does. So, with a half a minute remaining here, they can't afford to concede the Cats. So conservative ball wide, Cameron trying to light him up, sets him free. Crouch to Sloan. Do they go for the all or nothing? The sideways kick to Lever. Gee, it was a hard kick marked by Menzel. There's time here, 19 seconds. Menzel's able to run. Good purchase, 55 metres out. Long ball, Kelly.
Had to give that off then, Daniel Menzel. Two players, about 20, 25 metres out from goal. Had an easy option, needed to take it. Had to pass it.
So a moment lost, a big moment lost for the Cats. And Sloan and Dangerfield, so often talked about in the same sentence, well, going for the same footy. It was a huge moment.
All right, 35 points adrift, the Cats. Or will it be Adelaide into the grand final? Only Richmond has waited longer than the Crows to play in a grand final. Smith to get it going here. Smith, clever knockdown in the path of Duncan. And a throw. Brad Crouch must have copped a flick in the eye, I reckon. Goes sideways. Finds Laird, the man you spoke of. A little kick over the top is good to Sloan. Very deliberate when going forward from that position. Now Sloan into the pocket. Cameron. How did he mark it in amongst those three? Taylor, Henderson and Tui, and he was in the middle.
Now, I was watching him before the game, BT, and from this position, he was running around on his left foot, although the way he's lining up looks like he might have a deliberate shot, but was kicking the ball around his body on his left before the game from this position.
Well, let's have a look at what he does here now. Goes with the set drop punt, looking to bend it back from the left to right and won't get it there. Kicked the first goal of the game, Charlie Cameron. He's got a couple to his name. And he looks like he's really into this game in a big way.
So he has the first shot of the second half after the opening goal of the night. Stewart to himself. Cockatoo, good mark. He kicked a goal too. He was the lone goal scorer in that opening term for Geelong. Good kick to Menzel. Can he hit the scoreboard in the second half? He'll need to. He won't be the only one. He kicks to about 80 metres. Hawkins in a contest. Laird taken down by Lang. Stopped raining, I think, so had a fair bit of rain at half-time, had a bit in the first half. Lang very short. Kolajasny short, not quite going to get to Hawkins. Hartigan stood there, and Buse couldn't quite reel it in. The ball might be a touch slippery, though. We saw Duncan unable to control it in the middle. The boundary umpire wiping it here, so that long ball over the back could be important early in this half.
Yeah, there are a couple of players on the fat side of the ground. I'm just not sure that he could have made the distance to get it there, so Hawkins became the only real target. Tackle there on Selwood, and both hands were held behind his back as his head was drilled into the ground. I don't know whether we'll get another look at that, but interesting way to tackle Joel Selwood. Tex and Eddie. Right in between the interchange gates. Jacobs and Smith. Smith's going to have to climb back to where he was last week if Geelong are going to get up here. Duncan, beautiful little kick to Hawkins. And Hawkins in front of Talia. Talia won't be too disappointed with that. Locked up against the boundary line. He goes the barrel, and that's the one over the back. Almost got it there. Menzel was lurking. He was waiting. Took him on here. The Adelaide Crows. McKay didn't get the bounce of the ball. It was Brown that initially got it there. Now it spills in here. Opportunity for Cockatoo. Hartigan's got him in the tackle. Ball pinned, the umpire said.
Look at that desperation by the Crows. Two players going for the smother. Two players following up, tackling.
Sloan doing a lot of running with Dangerfield at the moment as well, isn't it?
Yeah, we love that matchup.
And Lang hooking back, and that is a goal. Lang gets the opening goal of the second half. That's important.
All right, well, they're back within 30 points here, the Cats. Lang has nailed the first goal of the second half, and it's excited the Cats around him. So can they build some momentum out of this? Crowd all of a sudden activated again. They can feel Geelong trying to surge forward, and here's the clearance. Beautiful palm to Sell with the kick, not so good. McKay to cut it off. Lever with a bit of a no-looker, sliding handball. Kick by McKay's a ripper to Eddie Betts.
And then Betts gets on his bike, and it's a fast bike, we know that, to Atkins. And then Atkins caresses the footy to Cameron. Thought he was going to go to Jenkins, and Cameron again presenting in the forward 50.
It was the perfect kick. It actually drew Cameron to the footy.
Never kicked 3 in a final before, but he has now. He's got the hat-trick, one in each of the 3 quarters.
This is a clean finish, isn't it? That's as brilliant as you get. BT mentioned that number 23's been in some pretty big finals, and pretty good finals.
Couple of Norm Smiths with Andrew McLeod.
He's channeling that.
Oh boy, have a look at him. He looks very, very happy with himself there, Charlie Cameron, and why not? 3 goals in a final. Kolodjasny. Dangerfield ran back into the Sloan tackle then. Jacobs knocked out in the tackle. Little ball along the ground. The Cats Motlop. That was knocked out in the tackle to Kolodjasny. Thus no free. Long ball inside 50. Over the head of Hawkins. At the back, Hartigan did well. Kelly, short little ball. Here's Laird. Laird can go even shorter and wider, and he does, and finds Seedsman at half-back here for the Crows.
The ability for the Adelaide defenders to find someone with their kicking has been phenomenal tonight. Good strong mark by Taylor.
He's done a good job on Josh Jenkins tonight. Jenkins only with 3 touches, kicked a goal though.
Gee, Stewart put under the pump from Cameron. He did a very good job. Motlop, we've talked about his work rate in the first half. It was impressive. Running. Now, can he deliver? Oh, it's a poor kick. That is such a disappointing result. Laird to Sloan to Jacobs, back to Laird. Well into the 20s now and going at about 97%, and he gives it to the bloke that always presents.
It must go through Lynch every time they go forward. What a cracking kick it was to Tex. Tex turns around, wastes no time, gives Jenkins a one-on-one with a smaller Tui. Out-muscled, out-body, out-position, good kick to advantage.
Smart kick by Tex. He knew that Jenkins had the mismatch. Jenkins has had Harry Taylor all over him all night. Walker identified the fact Jenkins had Tui and just got it to him. No mucking around, just got it to him.
Once again, the Crows, the angle of the kicks before they go inside 50, the Cats' defence can't set up because they don't know where they're going to go.
Have a look at the advice he's getting from that Geelong man there. Boy, did he give him a real baking. As now Jenkins comes in, good-looking hoist to the footy. Didn't bend back enough. They love to have their say, Bruce.
Might have offered him a ham sandwich, you just never know, BT. Kicked a goal in the second term, Jenkins. Of course, been part of the build-up, hasn't he, with Dangerfield and the little by-plays through the week, and of course with the Harry Taylor earlier. That kick by Stewart, cut off by Sloan. Of course, didn't play with his appendix operation in the first of the finals. Only match he's missed, had career high in round 23. Kicks to full forward. Stewart and Betts both got high. Matt Crouch. Yeah, what a year. What a season he's having.
Just watch the smarts of Rory Sloan here. Knew they had to attack down the middle, read it off the boot straight away, and scores from turnovers tonight have been the big win for the Crows. Matty Crouch with a great finish. 63 points they've scored. They average, I'll repeat that, they average 70 this season. #1 in the competition. They are blowing that out of the water.
Well, a 9-goal differential just in that part of the game. That is unbelievable. Taylor. Every Adelaide player doing their little bit as they inch closer to a 3rd grand final. Tui. Good penetrating run and a very, very good kick. Smith, Talia. Kelly now got it all to do. He didn't want to flick it out. He knew he didn't have the numbers, and he disguised it brilliantly well.
Well done, Talia. Well done, Jake Kelly there. That looked a certain goal for the Cats. Just desperation, get the hand in back, get a stoppage they can set up again.
So Smith and Jacobs, Hawkins, Scott Selwood. Strong tackle by Seedsman, has been a star. Sloan terrific in the crunches, but that ball not out.
Try to get out.
Menengola pleading, but not receiving. Stoppage forward 50 Cats. Jacobs clever, Atkins clever, Betts cut off by Motlop, not far though. Knight underneath it all. Brother Brad Crouch. Little give was good. Mackie. And now Buse gets a fair bit on it. Oh, gee, it was a pretty good kick. It's a behind. How fast did Geelong have to play here, Duck? I mean,
well, they have to play the perfect game because they're so far behind, Bruce. So it's going to be very difficult.
High risk.
Yeah, high risk. Got to take the game on, go for things that they wouldn't normally go for.
7 goals down. Hardigan playing the percentages. Otten couldn't hold on. Through Greenwood as well. Taylor needs to send it out. There were 3 Geelong players there waiting. Couldn't quite get his hands on it.
You almost have to risk losing by a massive margin to get yourself back into the game, Lingy. It's got to be really high risk, high reward.
Jacobs to Sloane. Smith and the 2 Selwoods combined. Here comes Hawkins again. Hasn't looked like it in the air. Hasn't had quality opportunities, I must admit. Laird to Jacobs, ran around it. Joel Selwood went and got it. Menengola tried to thread the needle. Low ball, Menzel. This time he got rid of it. Dangerfield, dribbler. It's wide, but they will lock it in there. 50.
they need a burst from him now, don't they? They need a big burst from him. Sloane started the second half really well. He's been playing on Paddy for a fair bit. He had an enormous second quarter, but Sloane had an enormous moment late in the second quarter that could be defining. Jacobs laid it down. Lang looking for another goal from a similar setup. Gets it to Dangerfield. Has he got the length? He's gone. Great tackle. Hardigan gets him down. He started the match on him in the goal square and he has a big win. Oh,
intercept there. Menzel did well. He read it beautifully.
Just inside 50.
And this will be a set shot for Daniel Menzel. But he'll have to give it all he's got.
He'll be right on his range, Dan Menzel. Hardigan, great tackle to nail Paddy Dangerfield. So hard to tackle, but unfortunately just looked up and telegraphed it too much. Menzel cut it off well.
He kicked a goal from this very point, I reckon, last week against the Swans.
So here is Menzel. He'll have to muster up every piece he's got in his kicking ability. Right on 50. Good looking kick just offline. So a couple of Geelong opportunities created, but not a lot of effect on the scoreboard.
So McKay, he's going to go long. Big fly at the back by Henderson, no mark. Menzel 22 goals, 4 from set shots for 4 tonight. Seedsman with a telling kick, but a good mark by Buse. You'd have almost backed Cameron with what he's done so far tonight, that ball. Well, this is the risk that Duck and Lingy were talking about that they have to take. They may get to a point where they can win the ball. Selwood magnificent to Motlop, and then Motlop off a step to full forward. And Hawkins can't quite. It's a mark paid.
Chopping over the shoulder, I think.
And the high-risk footy and the Selwood win.
That Joel Selwood win was unbelievable.
Yep. In amongst 3 Adelaide players, able to get it to Hawkins, and there that arm just coming over the top. Free kick there, but you're right, Doug. You've got to play like it, and it means you can get scored against the other way, and the margin ends up blowing out, but it doesn't matter. No percentage in finals.
He's had very few chances tonight. Has to nail it. It's a good kick. Held the line. Geelong edge a little closer.
Our Telstra tracker tonight just highlighting the importance of Eddie Betts, Charlie Cameron for the Crows, but also Steve Motlop for Geelong's sprint efforts. That's 24 k's an hour for more than a second. That's high intensity running. Betts is already at his season average of 20. Been big for him.
You see him pointing off the back. Was a free Geelong player as Cameron bursts out, and there is the free. That's exactly what Eddie Betts was pointing at and trying to get his teammates to cover from the bench. Gee, that's a funny old kick. Tui trying to make something happen that wasn't there. He had Lang in the long, and now Otten. Short ball by Otten finds Crouch. Thought about going, did Matt Crouch. Didn't get too far out to score. He sees lurking out wide an opportunity here with Brown. Around about 55 metres from goal, as you can see. Little ball still too far out here for Riley Knight. So Knight deep in that half-forward flank area. You get the feeling at a 35-point margin with Cameron that it's going to get away, and Cameron with a sensational grab looking at goal number 4.
He is putting on a show. This is his breakout game.
Scar is born.
Oh, doing it on the ground, doing it with the pressure, and now doing it like that in the air. That is a brilliant grab, and Eddie loves it.
Eddie up and about, and he says, that's my man Charlie. And Charlie's coming in for goal number 4, and he's got it. Charlie, look at him, going to Eddie's pocket and said, I nearly own you now.
So, not only a great mark, it was he that won the centre clearance before that, off the back of the square, and that's where he started again at this centre bounce.
Well, as Lingy said, an absolute breakout game for him. I mean, he's had a big semi-final last year in Sydney, but this is another level again. Menengola, well, there he goes again, Cameron. Little toe poke forward, Mackie in heavy traffic. Brad Crouch torpedoes the ball forward. Waiting, Henderson. They've just got to keep the scoreboard ticking over Geelong at a fast rate. Dangerfield protected the football. He did pretty well. The little give in, high pressure. A throw by the look of it, but not paid. Umpire not in the right position. Boundary throw in.
Bruce, the crowd really getting involved now. They can sense some pretty good things happening with the lead out to 41 points. Charlie Cameron too. He's 4 goals tonight. He's had an outstanding season. It was a huge pre-season for him. He just shredded a heap of time off his 2K time trial at the start of the year.
See the Adelaide bench man there just saying to his boys, settle down, pull back, take your full rest, don't get too anxious to get back on. Duncan caught in the tackle. Jenkins now looking to give it off, decides to go backwards to Lever. Lever very, very reliable. Nice little kick to Crouch. So Matty Crouch slides this one back inside. Finds Brad. The brothers combine.
Play on.
Just going down the boundary line carefully. Here's Tex. Couldn't quite get over top of this. Have a look at this from Charlie Cameron. Just a little bit of, in the words of Lou Richards, He-Man. I'm the man, and I'm Charlie.
For the Lou Richards recipient, the award winner. BT, so Cameron starring tonight. Smith and Jenkins, Knight, Menengola. Motlop was going to toe poke, but he saw Menengola's hands. Bull squeezing. Selwood's been big. Can't get through. Walker's little give. Lynch, good kick. It's front of the goal square. Greenwood stood up. No free kick. Douglas clever across the face. And Henderson escorts it through and then quickly on, and the Cats try to get it out.
Gee, they're weathering it well, though, the Crows. The Cats are going to throw everything out, as you said, Doug. They're playing high risk, but the Crows just playing rock-solid professional footy, defending well still, winning the ball around the contest. Gee, they've been good tonight.
Motlop. Duncan. He can get it over the top. He looks like Buse running forward. It is. He goes. Good work from the Cats. Smith. It's been an all-conquering Crows outfit here tonight. They lead it by 42. Smith puts it on the head of Stanley. All the big boys are there, and good mark taken by Menengola. 20 metres out. It's a 3-goal to 2-quarter so far in favour of the Crows.
And once again, the run from Motlop off half-back, just to play on, create, and then use the footy well.
Menengola being told 15 gone, plenty of time. Needs to kick this. It's only a 20-metre kick. Oh boy. Goodness gracious me. Did you see that, Duck?
Yes.
What did you make of it?
That's what 50,000 supporters can sometimes do to you, BT.
Both teams have had 10 set shots tonight. Adelaide are 7-3 and Geelong are 5-5. Just a couple of goals, but 2 goals to Geelong right now would make a big difference. So one big chance missed there. Sloane, Atkins. Atkins tonight. This kicking for Adelaide was such a feature early in the game. They set up Lever directing traffic to Douglas. Douglas doesn't panic, prepared to go back to Atkins. Atkins runs his full measure, and then he goes down the line, Geelong with the numbers. Taylor, no freeze, a bit unlucky. Betts, beautiful kick inside to Jenkins, who doesn't like to give it off in a hurry, and he probably should have there.
Oh, still should have. Gee. He just burnt them by turning his back on them.
Well, when you do that, there's only one thing you've got to do. You've got to kick it.
An old coach used to say, you live and die by the sword. If you don't give those up, BT, you better make sure you put it through the big sticks.
It's going to take a good kick. He probably has the length. He is fully committed. And there you go. So, I'm not sure if anyone can teach him to handball in a reflex manner, but he has to.
Well, even tonight, times when he's had the footy, he hasn't, Bruce. And every other one of his teammates is so unselfish, and at times he can be selfish.
Lang, great flick to Henderson. Hawkins was a little late in coming forward, so Harding was able to lead him to the footy. Well done by Stanley. Head over it and won it. Now he's got to get rid of it, and I'm not sure he did. Well, look at the Adelaide fans. They knew exactly what was going on there, and they demanded he blow the whistle.
They've had nearly 20 less tackles than Geelong, Adelaide, but it just feels like Adelaide have tackled better. I know that doesn't make sense when you just talk about raw numbers, but their ability to stick tackles and tackle with real intent has been impressive tonight.
And here's Adelaide where they crisscross the ground. Atkins, neat kick down the line. Mark not taken. Jenkins recovers. Taylor hangs on. Jenkins taps forward. Walker runs the gauntlet. He did well, Tex. Jenkins dropped it down. Swick handball by Crouch. Douglas clever. Knight, well done. They get it back to Jenkins. Jenkins, well, no, didn't find the target. And Henderson able to cut it off. And then now Geelong have got to go, but you've got to get the ball first.
Yes, and they have. Tui forced to kick around the corner without authority. And have a look at this. All Adelaide back. Parfitt in the middle of three. Kelly did well. Although Parfitt was able to soccer it once and twice. Now he puts Brown under a little bit of pressure. Brown did really well. Protected the footy and deliberately. And I reckon he'll be pinged here. Dived on, pulled it in, didn't flick it out. Atkins,
Brendan, yours. Straight back. Let's go.
At the bottom of the pack.
Play on.
So Parfitt a handball to Motlop. Motlop a difficult angle. Goes for the all or nothing, and he's drilled it. He's got it. Motlop gets one back for the Cats.
So it's under the chin of Mackie.
Very snugly under the chin.
Just trying to fend off there by Tex Walker, the Adelaide skipper. I don't see anything wrong with that at all. Motlop's continued to try for the Cats.
Contact first, play
So
on.
Selwood digging in to Buse. Great smother for not the first time by Sloan. What a competitor he is. Jacobs, Knight, here he goes. He's kicked for Cameron, and he caresses the centre half forward over the back. Sloan running so hard. Good tackle though. He threw it.
On the ball, illegal to spot.
Who tackled him? It was a beauty.
Duncan.
Well, that was big, wasn't it?
Yeah, great tackle by Mitch Duncan, Bruce. Goal-saving tackle. Well done, take a bow. Into the middle. So Selwood gets a free here.
Straight away. Hold there.
So all of a sudden some free land here for Menzer to operate in. Long ball. Now Hawkins in the one-on-one, but it wasn't kicked to the correct side. He kicked it to the boundary side. Hawkins wanted it back on the inside. And I know you can't get everything you want as a big forward, but just kicking it to the advantage side is a big help.
It's so important, BT, you're right, but gee, Daniel Talia is good. Once he gets position and he reads where that kick is going, he does not let that position up. So strong.
Jacobs, look at Selwood trying to clamp him up. Sloan in low. Stewart there and a Rory Sloan free.
Sloane and Selwood in this third quarter, just their attack on the ball, they just have no fear. They're prepared to take the hard hit, both of them. One for the Cats, a captain, and one for the Crows. An absolute beauty. Crouch down the line. Adelaide sitting on a good lead. Geelong, though, you feel like they're still in the contest in a way. I mean, the scoreboard suggests maybe otherwise.
It does a little bit, and it's the likes of Selwood and Duncan and Dangerfield and Motlop who are trying to will Geelong back into this, but just feel like the Crows have had and got a more even spread across the ground with blokes like this. Rory Sloane just leading the way. We should have got a free kick there.
So Dangerfield, Crouch and Selwood all get involved, and then an up and under from Douglas.
High ball. Mitch Duncan had to sit under it for a long time. And he handled it magnificently. Yeah, in the 20s, I reckon, it's very gettable, a lead in the 20s. It's just a goal off, though, Bruce. Like, it's 35 points. Parfitt threading his way through here and goes wide to Buse. Buse trying to claw that in with the one hand. It's 1 on 3. Clever knock back in. Lang was a little late arriving. Buse is doing his best. Parfitt was in there. Little knock on to Cockatoo. Cockatoo's a Smith. Smith bundles it out. Here's a chance for Mackie. Crouch got him in a tackle. Picked up in the end. It might have been Kolodjasny. The bounce here. Lever did wonderfully well with a difficult ball. And now Menzel. Menzel to Lang. It's all on the line here for the Cats now. They need to score next. They've got a half a minute to do it here in the third quarter, and a free will go the way here of Adelaide, I think.
Jakey Lever, yep. He's put 2 huge tackles on Jakey Lever late in this quarter. And he runs his measure and then kicks it as far as he can, getting it out of the danger zone. Selwood's little give. Menegola couldn't take it. Crouch does, gets it to Watton, and the swing man goes down the line, and good hands from Jenkins. And Adelaide may have done enough. May have done enough. We've got a half an hour to find it out. It's a big lead. It's going to take something remarkable from that man and his team. 3/4 time in the preliminary final. Adelaide lead Geelong 94-59.
Telstra Tracker has Mark Blitzarves back where we expect him to be. Number 1 and K's covered, but gee, some of the work rate of those Adelaide players. Rory Laird 11 Ks, McKay 11 Ks. Shows how important they are to this Adelaide Crows lineup, but that's not massive Ks covered by those players compared to other games. But that's probably because the Crows have just controlled so much of the footy tonight.
So it's about to go for the last time here. No more Adelaide Oval AFL this season. Do they get themselves into the grand final?
Well, 10 of the last minor premiers have done it, and they're certainly well on their way here, the Adelaide Crows. Only Richmond has been waiting longer than the Crows to reach a grand final. Can they get there? Mitch Duncan, long handball to Joel Selwood. He had to go into dangerous territory, though, to retrieve that. Jacobs. Sloane thought he was under a bit more pressure than perhaps he was. Lynch with a handball wide. Taken in the tackle by Douglas. G. Buse has been very, very impressive. Got it to Tui. Tui along the line, and turnover here. We'll see Crouch steady things down.
Buse has been good, BT. Combative. Worked hard. Atkins, normally a good kick. Oh, that one too close to the line. No, it's okay. Just Sloane took the mark. Thought it might have been out. He bangs it in Walker's direction. Betts at the back. Eddie held on to. Ball coming loose. Jenkins kicks the goal. Jenkins mops it up. Do you know what? They're on their way to the G. They're on their way to the... We talked pre-match. No top 10 draft picks for a dozen years. A lot of recycled players. Jenkins with Essendon didn't play. Betts, of course, at Carlton involved there.
They've done it unbelievably well. What a culture this football club has, and they are grand final bound. What a performance it's been against the Cats, who, coming into this game, we all thought matched up pretty well on the Crows. They went whack in the first quarter, and they have been so impressive tonight.
No currently listed Crow player has played in a grand final. Their coach, Don Pike, of course, played in 3. Stewart wide, looking for Lang. Gone out of bounds on the full, but they won't get it. Jakey Lever done a good job tonight. It's McGovern, of course, who missed out. I wonder how bad that hamstring is, and I wonder whether he'll make it to the big dance.
He'll be doing everything he can to get that one right.
I've never heard of a one-week hamstring, though.
High tackle, Adelaide.
You can only hope that it was a bit of tightness. Jeez, if it's a strain, he's no chance. Sloan. And Laird, who started the game so well and has continued on, mind you. Moves backwards to Hardigan. Hardigan across the ground here, waiting the arrival of the footy. Brown. Thought about Talia in the middle. Decided against it. Will go wider to Walker as he presents up. That may well be out of bounds on the full. And it is. Packed house here tonight, and there's a portion of them. Have a look at the Adelaide jumpers in amongst that lot.
You're going to be excited in a minute because we're going to put the crowd up, BT, and it will excite you.
Right.
Being a connoisseur of that sort of thing. So Adelaide with 100 points on the board, which has been a benchmark for them this season. So Stewart. Lever does that so well, doesn't he?
He's the best fister in the game, isn't he?
He's one of the more aggressive spoilers when he needs to be.
He gives it a good old belt.
Smith. Selwood and Sloan. Joel Selwood been brave tonight. He's had a crack. He's done everything he possibly can to try and get his team back into this one. Lynch did the boot smother then. His boot, I mean, to Jenkins. Jenkins to Betts. Betts, the little handball. Umpire almost got in the way. Jenkins finishes with it, and he's got 3.
Well, he started it, Josh, and he knew as soon as he gave it to Eddie would give it back. Because that's what Eddie does.
That's right. 100 points again for the Crows, as you said, Bruce. This season, including tonight, 15 wins, 1 draw when they hit that magical mark. Impressive.
So that draw against Collingwood at the MCG. So, Lingy, yep, they've got that benchmark, and they are such a scoring team. It's the one thing that you always feel they're a chance. We were at the MCG that day. They were 52 points behind Collingwood at one stage. They were able to come back.
I was at that game watching it. Unbelievable comeback it was, Bruce.
So here's Otten. He just sets it up. Cameron doesn't go. Walker, little handball. Lonigan, Stewart, Tui. What a fine season he's had. Hasn't missed a game for 5 years. Selwood got it. Well, they're going to be beaten tonight, but the captain can hold his head high. Belts the ball forward. Menzel at the back. Hawkins a long, long way out. What can he do? He kicks to centre half forward or a full forward nearly Otten, and Henderson switched down there, and the ball goes out in the forward pocket. Is that deliberate? Is it okay?
He's out of control, that man. He's really annoyed by the decision. He just... he went a little psycho.
47 points up. They don't want to give them anything.
Come on. Have a look at that hill. It's jammed.
Percentage doesn't count in the finals, does it?
Look at all the pointing, Bruce.
So Henderson from the pocket. Across for a behind. That's a goal. It's a goal. Well done. Sorry about that.
Just his 4th goal for the year here, Henderson, after Otten pinged. And the nice inside-out right foot banana. And clutches the hamstring there. I don't know whether that's a bit of cramp. Here's Dangerfield. Tonight, got it to Motlop, able to run. So fluent a runner he is. Ball to the pocket to Taylor. Left footer, remember. Up against the boundary line, had to get rid of it in the nick of time. Hardigan got it back, Harry. Spun it out somehow to Menzel. Intercepted by Laird. He just mungles it as far out of the danger zone as he can get. Well done by Otten. Henderson there as well. And Knight happy to find the boundary. And we'll throw it in.
So this crowd tonight is the all-time record. So a record for any AFL game here, 53,817. It was the perfect storm, wasn't it? It was Geelong, it was Dangerfield, it was the Crows, great weather. It was a preliminary final above all of that. Selwood back to Dangerfield. And he squares it up. So Sloan and Dangerfield,
Both coming off the ground together there. And this typifies Geelong's night. The missed kick, the missed opportunity, the turnover. Adelaide pounce. Kolajasny getting back. He's under any pressure, and this can make you do funny things like fumble. Betts over the top to Walker. Knight into the open goal. Adelaide goes berserk.
The two skippers,
Yeah, come together. A little bit of acting there from Tex. Tex recently voted by his peers as the best captain for 2 years in a row. I reckon Joel might have won that award a couple of occasions too. Great leaders of their respective clubs.
Brad Crouch to Mackay, out wide. So Adelaide 112 to 65. Abuses kick. Mackay goes back.
It's okay, as a kick.
Around the corner from Brown. Down to Betts. So constructive Betts. Walker protects the ball. It was a good kick and it was a good mark. You picked Walker out at the start of the night, Wayne. You wrote your Fairfax article about him today. How's he gone?
He's been solid. He hasn't, what has he had coming up for his 12th disposal? So, been solid without being a star. But this is the thing about this side. He doesn't have to be a star for them to win.
Gee, that's a good kick. Well, he's deserved that. He gave the last one off. Well, a little while back, the late Phil Walsh sat him down and said, who do you reckon should be captain of this footy club? And Tex gave him the list. And he said, no, you're the one that should be captain. He said, bloody hell. And he went and sat in the car and said, I've got to think about this. Well, I think he did. And the rest is history. Well, Phil Walsh believed in him.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is a timely in a prelim where you can really soak it up. You now know you're going into a grand final.
Just a great feeling. And with this crowd roaring behind you, they will be feeling pretty special, these Adelaide players. But Tex, as you said, hasn't had to dominate, but I've loved his aggressive approach, his leadership. Yep. They've got on board with what he does.
The Crows will have won 10 of 14 finals played in Adelaide. Cameron, who ignited the Adelaide Oval early in this game. Here's Lynch. He is the linchpin. He fumbles that. Joel Selwood, little firm to Motlop. Back and got it. Mackay looking for Jenkins. Jenkins to Crouch, back to Jenkins. Motlop comes at him. Forced him to give the ball up, and a free kick will go the way of Adelaide here. Jenkins.
He's going to get a free there, Jenkins. He's
went for the short ball to Cameron. Maybe trying to make amends there as now Hawkins in the middle. Shovels it off to Stanley. Stanley to Lang. Lang to Motlop. Motlop 55 out, plonks it up, gives Harry Taylor a chance, but what a punch it was from Hartigan, but didn't quite get the job done. Harry had a second go and then a third go. And what about Lever? Loved that ball, picked it up and put it down the throat of Mackay.
A hard-running Mackay with a couple of bounces. Can he get it over the back? A beautiful kick to his captain. And then Walker with that. Look at that kick. Kicked it about 70 metres. Cameron nearly. He's going to kick 5. He's going to kick 5. He has. He's been more than a handful. He's been the star of the night. Don't you love it? This crazy city that loves its footy.
once again, started from defence.
Yep.
As you said, BT, lever, and just their beautiful ball use. They come back in, change the angle again, Lingy. They don't go down the line. They change the angle so often, back through the corridor to the captain, Tex Walker, and then a beautiful kick to space. Just allowed Cameron, probably could have marked it. Didn't matter in the end. He's been brilliant tonight.
Well,
Very happy with things.
Interesting. And they're very excited here at the moment.
I think everyone in Adelaide right now is saying yes.
Doesn't matter who you kiss. Betts, ball knocked out on the tackle.
Let him go.
Just grab the person next door, shake his hand, cuddle him, do what you want. Because it is a night of celebration here at the Adelaide Oval.
You stay there. Let him stay there. I've got the kick. You stay there. I've got the kick.
Crouches in the cell, which we knew they'd be at each other.
Let it go, Geelong.
Joel Selwood looks like he may have done the left hamstring too. He's just walking slowly from the ground.
Yeah,
his year is done.
Yeah. It may either be that or his foot problem. So does.
Yeah, could well be the foot too.
He does not look comfortable. You're quite right. Long ball here for the Cats. Stanley rises, couldn't mark. Good kick out of the pack. Henderson's going to get on this. So the Cats coming forward in big numbers and the ball wide to Mitch Duncan. And there is Selwood.
He's tried hard all night to skip up. 29 touches, a goal, 17 contested possessions. But unfortunately for the Cats, 16 players played in last year's preliminary final. For them, another painful, poor performance in a prelim final. They're going to have to search for the answer over summer again.
This crowd here is just whipping themselves into a frenzy at the moment. They are thoroughly enjoying the night. And every moment here, they've got plenty of time to soak it up. 11 minutes they've got knowing that they're in the grand final from here on in. That is one part you've got to love when you know you're there.
They'll be booking plane tickets, they'll be booking buses, they'll be organising carpools in that last 11 minutes. BT, they will be invading the MCG next Saturday afternoon.
So they may come up against another fanatical mob. We're not too sure, are we? That's to be played out tomorrow. Smith's little give Menangola back to Lang. He kicked the opening goal of the second half. It looked like the Cats had half a chance at that stage. Talia, after Stanley couldn't quite. Atkins did well on Hawkins. And then the little gives a beauty to Walker, who really is enjoying the last quarter of the Texan, isn't he? As he goes wide.
Bruce, the local paper here today, I think there were 17 pages devoted to the Crows in the Advertiser. I reckon they'll top that tomorrow with ease.
Well, you know what it's like. You work day in and day out, so does both radio and TV in this town. It'll be an incredible feeling tomorrow morning here, as it is tonight. So Lever. I guess McGovern's the big one, isn't it? So does McGovern's the big question for the week now, isn't it?
That's a story, Bruce. Look, the club has said officially just at halftime that they do remain hopeful there might be a chance, but I don't think there's really any chance he's going to play. You talked about the lack of top 10 draft picks. The most potent forward line in the competition. When you check this out, Jenkins cost them pick 31 in a trade to Essendon. Lynch cost them pick 37 from St Kilda. They picked McGovern, who you spoke about, with pick 43. Taylor Walker came here as a 16-year-old on the New South Wales scholarship program. Cameron's a rookie, and Eddie Betts was a free agent. It's a phenomenal forward line.
Gee, you've got it all there, Sodas, that's for sure. And Adelaide going on their merry way. By the way, they've never lost a grand final, Bruce. They've won the 2 in the AFL. They won last year's AFLW. Yep. Erin Phillips, by the way, has come home from the US, especially today, to witness this game. She'll be in the rooms after the game. We look forward to that. Here's Menangola around the corner. Long ball. Hawkins hasn't been able to glove them all night. Hasn't had a lot of quality ops. And here is the Joel Selwood final part of the injury in the middle of the ground there. A little slip there. And that, I reckon, is definitely that problem that he's gone into the game with.
Gee, played a great game. I know they were on the back foot and he was playing catch-up footy, but he dug deep, didn't he? As you always expect he would. Kolodjasny, great smother from Greenwood, and Parfitt over the boundary line.
Bruce, just as we looked at Joel Selwood coming in with that ankle problem he had there, we know that but coming off the ground now, Andy Otten has just limped off and he's in the hands of the trainers.
Tom Lynch there, just copped that head knock. He came from the ground as well, so does, with the doctors getting checked out for a little bit of concussion, so no doubt they'll keep a close eye on how he pulls up during the week with the concussion protocol.
Dangerfield going for a third goal, and he's missed it. And even he can have a smile. It's a strange night for him now, isn't it? The champion at Adelaide in 2015, the club champion, the champion and Brownlow medalist last year. In the prelim final, he said it's the biggest game of my life coming in. His second quarter was one to behold tonight, wasn't it?
He was unbelievable in that second term.
But he knows the team he played so much footy for is on their way to the grand final.
Stanley putting it into the spot there. Menegola runs, marks, plays. Ends up going on the non-preferred, and it's a beautiful finish from him as well. Two last quarter goals here for the Cats. And it has been a blistering Adelaide Crows right from the start tonight when they kicked 6 goals to 1 in the first quarter. Cameron was electric, Betts, Lynch, you name them, they're all involved early.
And Bruce, you mentioned with Paddy Dangerfield leaving the Adelaide Crows and the funny feeling he'd have. Gee, the players who've stepped up in the midfield in his absence for the Crows have been so impressive, led by that man Rory Sloane. But Matty Crouch again up to 28 disposals, 14 of those contested. Brad Crouch 27 disposals, 17 of those contested. They just have not missed a beat after one of the best in the game left and went to the Cats. They have been superb, that Adelaide midfield.
So Douglas out of the centre, kicking to full forward, Tui, Knight to harass him. Otten back out there, Tui in a boundary throw in. So for Mackie and Lonigan, it is the end of the long journey as we look at the Crows there and all the smiles.
And just good news too, to just update Tom Lynch back out in the ground. We were worried about that head knock, but he's out in the ground, so obviously all okay. A sad way to end for Tom Lonigan. Andrew Mackie, wonderful careers at the Cats. This is not the way they thought it would end.
Sloane, so strong. Jenkins, so pokes it almost forward. Mackie held up, and then Henderson under pressure, and Walker to have a kick from the pocket. So skillful, you'd think he's at least 50% chance from here. What a kick. He's kicked 2 goals in the last quarter. So we started the night talking about all the things that this footy club has had to endure and the tragedy and where they've been able to get themselves to.
It's just absolute recognition for the strength of this football club, the leadership within the football club, one of their biggest supporters there. But the players they lost, Phil Davis, Jack Gunston, Paddy Dangerfield, Nathan Bock, Kurt Tippett, and obviously the tragedy of their coaches, Dean Bailey and also Phil Walsh. But somehow they've stayed strong through all that. They've stayed near the top of the ladder, and now they are at the top of the ladder and heading to the biggest dance next week. Just unbelievable resilience from this Adelaide Crows football club.
So, Duck, you're down to the last 6 or 7 minutes. You know you're in a grand final. How do you keep yourself safe? And what's going through your mind as a player that's going to play in it?
Well, the problem with that, if you're out on the ground and you go half-hearted, that's sometimes when you can get injured. So you've got to keep going hard at the footy. There's no doubt about that. But there's no question all the players out on the ground right now are soaking this up. They know they're going into grand final.
And do they want to be on the ground or off the ground?
Oh, no, I think you still want to be on the ground.
Yeah.
I don't think you want to, but if you do get asked to come off, you're certainly not going to whinge about that either.
And the other thing you can change is if you do take a mark, you can try and just chip it round a little bit, but you're right, you're still going to go hard at the footy.
Seedsman over the top, Laird. Started the game on fire, had a good one. Little handball there, beautifully gloved by Menengola. Sharp hands, Duncan.
She's out there again, Joel Selwood.
What is he doing out there? The man is unbelievable. Lever's told to play on, and he does, and turns around and tries to spot up Betts, but misses him. Lonergan to Lang. Lang from 45 misses. What is Joel Selwood doing?
It would be his mindset that he would not want to be on the bench when this game finishes because of how bad a loss it is for the club. He would have told the doctors, just let me go back out there, I should be with my team, which isn't necessarily the best thing for his ankle, but that would just be what's going through his mind. Call it silly, call it stubborn, whatever you like, but that's just what he would be thinking.
Captain never gets off a sinking ship.
Yeah. Well, Duck's come up with an oldie there. Oh, boy, Duck.
Mackie tried to spin and turn, wanting just a last little touch or two.
I'd love to see you on that ship, Duck. I'd love to see whether you go lifeboat bound or not.
Tui back to Motlop. And then Motlop spearing the ball into the heart of the centre square. Cut off by Menengola, cut off. Cameron to Crouch. Crouch's little kick, Scott Selwood cuts it off.
I guess only those who have captained BT can answer that.
Oh, boy. Selwood over the top. Hardigan. That was a fairly uncalled for dagger to my heart. Crouch. Texan. Jenkins. Who's got 3, and he's going to line up for 4, and he sends a high one. Big Jenko's got 4. Looking to reach their 3rd grand final to accompany 97 and 98. They're going to do it. And only, as I said earlier tonight, Richmond has been waiting longer than the Crows to reach a grand final, and that'll unfold tomorrow.
BT, good signs for the Crows. They do have Andy Otten back on the deck. He obviously hasn't played since that round 19 draw against Collingwood. A little bit sore in the calves, but he looks okay. Well,
that just sums the night up, doesn't it? 124 kilometres in attack. That's how far they've run while they've had the ball in their hands. They've worked hard to link up, and Geelong a long way behind, and that's why it's the 62-point margin.
Zach, Sam, hold the meter.
Impressive, brilliant performance by the Adelaide Crows into the big dance.
So the Cats forward 50. Hawkins goes to ground. Stanley, quiet night. Lever, Laird. What a game he's played again, Laird.
Once again, just that short chip. They just have not missed a target tonight with those short kicks.
No Brodie Smith, no Mitch McGovern. No questions asked. You know, big outs, big outs. They've covered them brilliantly. Seedsman's first half colossal.
Charlie Cameron stood up in that absence, that run, creativity, and ultimately kicking 5 goals. Unbelievable performance.
Push out.
Betts to Cameron. There goes the speed machine. Beautifully weighted little ball. Finds Atkins. 3 minutes 50 remaining in the game. Anyone for Adelaide out there, Duck, that you think is under some sort of threat to hold their position or not?
Well, the only one I could think of is the man that came in to replace McGovern, and that's Otten.
Right.
So
and that's if McGovern.
And that's
right.
if McGovern's fit. But if he's not, then he holds his spot.
Right. So Atkins have to kick this from outside 50. Won't quite get the journey. Seedsman looking dangerous, and the punch in the end.
Even if Mitch McGovern's not right to go, Doug, is Miller a chance just for that extra run on the MCG?
Well, I think that depends who you're playing. If you're playing the Tigers, maybe speed is more important. If you're playing GWS, maybe height.
So there is Lynch. Good smother by Selwood. Remarkable that Joel's still out there. 2 goals in the opening turn by Lynch. Over 30 for the 66th time, Selwood. Sloan and Walker together. the two leaders of this footy club on the field. And Ngola, game tackled, has to squeeze it out. Selwood still fighting to the end. Jacobs gets him down. I ran into Sam last night at a function. That lady said, I'm really nervous, but it's a good nerves. He said, we've done everything right. He said, I can't wait to get there tomorrow night. He started well, didn't he? It was important.
Well, this performance by the Crows tonight dispels the bye in the last round. So they've played very little footy in the space of 4 weeks.
And Duck gets everybody off Don Pike's back about going to the Gold Coast. Because that has been a massive story here.
They do look tan tonight, though.
Well, I think Don was pretty happy it was 30 degrees in Adelaide today. Talia, good kick to Laird.
This will be possession number 30 for Rory Laird. What a wonderful game he has had with the Crouch boys, the leading possession winners for the Crows. Brad Crouch, 29, Matty Crouch, 28. Just controlled and owned the footy.
Laird, their backline's been brilliant all year. Adelaide, so consistent. They've had Alex Keith to come in and play a role there as well, and he fitted in nicely, and he's a good spare for them, and he's a good up-and-comer as well.
And they all know their role. Daniel Talia, he's happy to lock down and has absolutely beaten Tom Hawkins tonight. Jake Lever can come off and help. Jake Kelly plays a really important role, and then the creative players can run off the back of all of those players knowing exactly what they're there to do.
So they're all good at something different, aren't they?
Absolutely. I think at the start of the year, we thought they had a weakness. It was probably in the middle of the ground, but the emergence of the Crouch boys.
Yeah. Here's one of them right now.
Great, very, very, very good players.
Atkins and Brown are just two unassuming sort of guys. You don't walk past them in the street, you wouldn't know, would you? But they just are two of the most consistent players they have on their list, Adelaide. Not one player on the Adelaide list has played in a grand final. And they're all going to get the opportunity to do that next weekend. Hughes was in amongst it there. Crouch, Motlop sprints away with the footy. Had a cracking game last week, Motlop. You wonder whether his name will be mentioned in trade talk again, which starts on Monday. Puffit goes long, and Lang muscles McKay under the footy. Not one of the record-breaking crowd here tonight has left. 53,817, a record for an AFL game. And every one of them still in the house. You don't see that very often, Bruce, do you? So Lang.
You mentioned the emergence of the Crouch brothers. Matt Crouch is up to 31 possessions, 30 possessions for the 10th game in a row. What a season he's had, but also delivering in finals. Not just getting it against the lower teams, delivering in big finals.
Yeah, 18 times this year, 30, 10 in a row, He's been superb. Kolodjasny to Stewart, and then Stewart off a step. Seconds remaining. Kicks to full forward, bubbling about. Brown and Menzel. Menzel gets hold of him. A stoppage, but no stopping the Crows. Started with a couple of quick goals, Cameron and Betts. It's been 19 long years, but Adelaide are in the grand final.
Tex, what an amazing situation. Have a look at the crowd.
Unbelievable sides, mate. Yeah, look, it's obviously a great win, and we strive to play in a grand final, and we're finally there. A lot of hard work, but we've got one more to go, and we're going to go there, and we're going to play to win.
Taylor, an enormous amount of adversity in so many different areas this club's overcome. It's been a pretty remarkable few years, hasn't it?
It has, mate, yeah, it has. It's been unbelievable. Like, there's so much trust and belief in all the boys that played, and it's unbelievable, mate. I'm speechless.
Broken Hill, they'll be going absolutely crazy over there, won't they?
Mate, they've got their footy trip at the moment, so they'd be watching now. And good luck, boys. But hey, let's go next week.
Tex, tell us about this group. How resilient have they been?
Oh, mate, it's one of the most resilient footy clubs I've ever been involved in. We've been through so much as a group, and it's just created a stronger bond. And our culture at this footy club is unbelievable. And I want to play forever, but yeah, it's just outstanding.
So much talk about what you do in a 15-day break. You all went up to the Gold Coast. It worked well as a group, and then you've been able to come out, and the start was remarkable. It set the winner.
Yeah, we had to start well. We knew Geelong they were in great form from last week, but started well. I think we kicked 7 or 8 goals in the first quarter, and that just set us up for the last 3 quarters, and consistently competed. Obviously, Geelong got 2 boys that are going out tonight, and they've had great careers, so I wish them all the best.
Tex, well, captain, mate, is it right now? Is it relief? Is it absolute excitement? What's the overwhelming emotion right now?
Oh, mate, excited. I'm ecstatic. I've never played in the AFL Grand Final, so let's go there and win it, eh?
Well done, mate. Congratulations. Great year.
He's not the only one. None of his teammates have either. So all of them go there for the first time next Saturday. What about this fella, Betts, Eddie? Down to you, Sodas, because you're with him right now.
Eddie Betts, you're going to an AFL Grand Final.
Speechless, man. 13 years, and all we want to do is play in the Grand Final. We're finally there.
Eddie, I know you made the move from Carlton. You've had an unbelievable time here. Like you said, over those 13 years, you've never had a double chance in finals. You've never been to a prelim final, and it has just been an unbelievable performance, a dominant performance against a quality team.
Yeah, it's fantastic by the boys. We knew we had to come out, start well. That's what we did. What can I say? We got one more now. One more. We're going to the Grand Final. I'm speechless.
There's a little man out there called Charlie Cameron, and when he first came to the footy club, I know you and your wife Anna, he would not even eat his vegetables. You had to hide them in the meat with him. He's been just fantastic tonight with his 5.
He's a superstar, Charles. I mean, gonna be an absolute gun. To see him next week on the MCG with all that space, gonna love watching him play.
Eddie, congratulations, mate. 13 years, and you're now going off to a grand final. Your time here in Adelaide has been absolutely sensational.
Thank you, thank you.
Very emotional, Eddie Betts, and an emotional Andrew Mackey and Tom Lonergan, who just left the ground and got a rousing reception. But it's all about this team, the tri-coloured team. You don't see Dom Pike like that too often, do you? I mean, he's generally poker-faced, keeps the cards close to his chest. We've seen some great shots. I mean, the Dangerfield Sloan a moment ago was just a beauty, wasn't it? That respect. Selwood limps away, but God, he should be proud of what he did. I know he didn't get the result he wanted. But for Geelong, another crushing defeat in a preliminary final. But for the Crows, there is Paddy too, who we talked about so much in the lead up to the game. He said it's the biggest match of my life, and despite all his efforts in the second quarter, he couldn't turn it around. Hamish, we didn't know what to expect. I don't think we expected quite what we got, but one thing we know for sure, this is a very exciting footy club, and it's going to be a very excited town this week, and the build-up will be fabulous.
I was just speaking to the Adelaide Crows media managers, and there was some talk that the advertiser was going to run a 42-page spread in the build-up to the grand final. That's not a number that's made up. That was being discussed outside. It highlights what it means to this town, this club.
Yep, no, absolutely, and it's one of their biggest moments to win a preliminary final in Adelaide.
And how quickly things change, and how different right now these two clubs are. One is looking ahead and thinking of a third grand final and a third premiership from a third grand final. The other 2 hours ago was thinking about what could have been. But for Tommy Lonergan and Andrew Mackie, their last game has been played, nothing ahead. I think he's going to go down and speak to those two about a career that's in the rearview mirror.
Yeah, absolutely, Haynes. So, Adelaide, first team into the grand final, been top of the table for most of the year, heaviest scoring side. We know one thing for sure, whoever they play against next Saturday at the MCG is going to have to kick a lot of goals, because that's what this team do. Good on you, mate. It's over to you.
Thanks, Bruce. Terrific call. Well done. Bruce will be back on Monday night, Brownlow medal, but right now, I assume Wayne Carey and Cameron Ling, these are the minutes and possibly the hours that you get to enjoy before it all gets serious again.
Yeah, no doubt about that. As we said, they knew they were going to a grand final, well into that last quarter, but when the siren goes, there is an element of relief and obviously excitement knowing that, all of these boys are going through to their first grand final, Lingy.
Yeah, absolutely right, Duck. It's a great feeling because in about, probably not even a couple of hours' time, in about half an hour, 45 minutes' time, these players are going to switch straight over to, OK, I've got to recover. What are we going to learn from this one? What have we got to do next week? But for this brief period of time, they can enjoy it exactly like Eddie's doing right now in front of a home crowd, adoring fans, and all the staff, the coaches of the Adelaide Football Club would be so proud of what their team's delivered this year, what they've delivered tonight. And they're going to belt out this song as soon as they get down into the rooms, and they're going to have that moment of just exhausted relief and happiness that they are going to be playing on the MCG in that one big day. Unfortunately for that man, Brodie Smith, he'd have mixed feelings because he would be so happy for his teammates, so proud of his great mates, but just deep down, hidden away, he'd be shattered that he couldn't be part of it all. But obviously a selfless type of person was never going to let it be about him and how disappointed he is. He was always going to be there for his teammates, and that's been the attitude of the Adelaide Crows all year. And that's what they're playing for, Haim.
You almost don't want to look at it, Doug.
It's
not until it's yours.
No, exactly right. It's look, it's incredible. You can't explain, Lingy, can you, the feeling that they're having right now to get through to the grand final. I often say, and we said it before the game, that prelims are often harder to win because you just want to get there. You just want to be there on grand final. Grand final day, anything can happen, but you've got to get there first, and they're there.
And you often play tight and nervous in preliminary finals because you are so desperate to be there the following week. But the Crows didn't play like that early. No. They set this game up with just that brilliant first quarter, and there was no tightness. It was just pressure, create turnovers, and they went bang with the ball in hand.
There was no sluggishness, was there? I mean, they came out fired up. They were clean. Their ball use was absolutely brilliant. We spoke about how their efficiency, how they hit targets.